Can I ask you something personal? When was the last time you were truly kind to yourself? Not to a friend, not to a family member, to yourself. When was the last time you looked at your own heart and said, you are doing okay. You are enough. I am here for you.
For most of us, that moment is hard to remember, because somewhere along the way, we learned to take care of everyone else first. And somewhere along the way, we forgot that we also needed taking care of.
Today, we are going to talk about something that sounds simple, but is actually one of the hardest and most beautiful lessons a person can learn. Learning to love yourself more than anyone else. Stay with us. This one is for your heart. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cozy English. I'm Ava.
And I'm Andrew. It is so wonderful to be here again with all of you. Wherever you are right now, whether you are walking, making tea, lying in bed, or sitting quietly by a window, we are so glad you chose to spend a few minutes with us today.
Yes, truly. Every day you choose to listen, you are choosing to learn, to grow, and to give yourself a little something good. And we do not take that lightly.
It really does feel like we are all sitting together in a quiet, cozy room somewhere, just having an honest conversation about life.
Exactly. And today our topic is something that sounds simple on the surface but goes very deep. Learning to love yourself more than anyone else.
That sounds beautiful but also a little confusing, right? I mean, what does it actually mean to love yourself more than anyone else? Isn't that kind of selfish? Like, am I supposed to stop caring about other people?
That is such an important question, Andrew. And I think that is exactly where most people get stuck when they hear the word self-love. When we hear love yourself, we often imagine someone who is proud, who puts themselves above everyone else, who doesn't care about others. But real self-love, it is nothing like that. It is quieter than that. It is about care, respect, and deep kindness toward your own heart.
So it is not about saying I am the best. It is more like saying I am enough, even like this. Even on this difficult day, even with all my imperfections.
Exactly. Loving yourself means accepting that you are human, imperfect, sometimes messy, sometimes lost, sometimes tired and confused, but still completely worthy of love, completely worthy of peace. That is what self-love really means.
That actually feels very comforting to hear. But I have to be honest with you, Ava. I find it genuinely hard to love myself sometimes. There are days when I feel like I am not doing enough, like I am not good enough, like everyone around me is moving forward and I am just standing still.
Andrew, I think most people feel exactly that way, more than they ever admit out loud. The truth is, society teaches us from a very young age to look for love and approval from outside of ourselves, from our parents, from our teachers, from our friends, from our partners, from social media, from everyone except ourselves. And when we depend entirely on outside approval for our sense of worth, our worth becomes very fragile.
Yes, like if one person doesn't like us, or if we fail at something, suddenly it feels like we are worthless. Like we lost something we can never get back.
Right. But the truth is, no one else can give you the kind of love that fills the empty space inside. That is your job. And it is the most important job you will ever have. I remember once I was trying to learn something new, something I really cared about, and I kept getting it wrong. I got so frustrated with myself. And I said out loud, "You are so stupid. Why can't you just get this right?" And later that same evening I thought, I would never say those words to a friend who was struggling. Not once. Not ever. So, why was I saying them to myself?
That is such a powerful realization. We are so much harder on ourselves than we would ever be on someone we love.
We really are. And here is something I want you to think about today. The voice inside your head becomes the home you live in. If that home is full of criticism, full of judgment, full of you are not enough, you will never feel truly safe inside yourself. You will always be searching for safety somewhere else.
Wow, the home you live in. That is a very beautiful and a very serious way to think about it.
So maybe today we can start very simply.
just by noticing how we talk to ourselves.
And asking one quiet question, would I say this to someone I love? That is all. Just notice.
I like that. It is a gentle beginning. No pressure. Just noticing.
Yes.
Because loving yourself is not a race. It is not something you achieve one day, and then you are done. It is more like learning to walk home to yourself. One small, quiet step at a time.
Walking home to yourself. I really love that image.
Then let us keep walking together.
You know, Ava, after what we just talked about, I started thinking, why is it so hard to be kind to ourselves? I can forgive other people so easily. If a friend makes a mistake, I say, it is okay, you are human, you tried your best. But when I make the same mistake, I become the harshest judge in the room. No mercy, no kindness, just you should have done better.
That is a question I have sat with many times myself. And I think it starts very early in life. When we were children, we learned, often without anyone meaning to teach us this, that love was something we had to earn. We earned it by being good, by doing well in school, by making people proud, by not causing problems. And over time, we started believing something very dangerous, that our worth depends on how much we achieve. That love is a reward for performance.
Yes, like love was not just naturally there. Like love was something you had to deserve every single day.
Exactly.
And when we grow up, that belief does not disappear. It stays in our head. It becomes that inner voice that says, you should do better. You should be more. You are not working hard enough. You are falling behind. And underneath all of that, there is fear.
Fear of what?
Fear of not being accepted. Fear of being left behind. Fear of being seen as not enough, and then losing the people you love because of it. So we judge ourselves harshly because somewhere deep inside we believe, if I criticize myself hard enough, I will fix myself fast enough, and then I will finally be worth loving.
Wow, that hits very close to home. I think that is me. Always trying to be enough for everyone around me. Always trying not to disappoint anyone.
I understand that completely. I used to live in that place too. I remember when I first started doing what I loved, I was obsessed with being perfect. Every little mistake I made, I would replay it over and over in my mind.
A wrong word I said. A moment primer enlat badly.
A decision I wished I had made differently. On and on. Late into the night. I could not let it go.
Because you were afraid that one mistake would make you unworthy.
Yes.
And when we forget that we are already worthy, just by being here, just by trying, our inner critic gets louder. It tells us to do more, be more, fix more. But in reality, what we need is less judgment and so much more compassion.
So judging myself does not actually help me grow. It just keeps me frozen in the same place.
Exactly.
Because when you are always criticizing yourself, you stop feeling safe enough to try again. You stop feeling safe enough to be honest about your struggles. It is like trying to bloom while someone is standing over you, yelling at you to grow faster.
Flowers do not grow under pressure. They grow under care.
Exactly.
And the same is true for people. Real growth happens when we feel accepted, not when we are constantly being punished for being human.
But how do we unlearn that? I mean, it is not easy to just stop judging yourself overnight. That voice has been there for so long.
You are right. You cannot silence that voice in one day, but you can begin by noticing it. When that inner critic speaks, when it says you are not good enough or you should have done better, pause. And say quietly to yourself, thank you for trying to protect me. But I am safe now. I do not need you to be so hard on me.
Wait, thank it? You thank the critical voice?
I understand that completely. I used to live in that place too. I remember when I first started doing what I loved, I was obsessed with being perfect. Every little mistake I made, I would replay it over and over in my mind.
A wrong word I said. A moment primer enlat badly.
A decision I wished I had made differently. On and on. Late into the night. I could not let it go.
because you were afraid that one mistake would make you unworthy.
Yes.
And when we forget that we are already worthy, just by being here, just by trying, our inner critic gets louder. It tells us to do more, be more, fix more. But in reality, what we need is less judgment and so much more compassion.
So judging myself does not actually help me grow. It just keeps me frozen in the same place.
Exactly.
Because when you are always criticizing yourself, you stop feeling safe enough to try again. You stop feeling safe enough to be honest about your struggles. It is like trying to bloom while someone is standing over you, yelling at you to grow faster.
Flowers do not grow under pressure. They grow under care.
Exactly.
And the same is true for people. Real growth happens when we feel accepted, not when we are constantly being punished for being human.
But how do we unlearn that? I mean, it is not easy to just stop judging yourself overnight. That voice has been there for so long.
You are right. You cannot silence that voice in one day, but you can begin by noticing it. When that inner critic speaks, when it says you are not good enough or you should have done better, pause and say quietly to yourself, "Thank you for trying to protect me.
But I am safe now.
I do not need you to be so hard on me."
Wait, thank it? You thank the critical voice?
Yes.
Because that critical voice is not evil. It is actually trying to protect you. It believes that if you do everything perfectly, you will never get hurt. It is working so hard to keep you safe. But it is working in the wrong way. So you do not fight it.
You do not argue with it.
You soothe it. You comfort it.
Like comforting a scared child who is afraid of doing something wrong. Not arguing with the child. Just holding them gently and saying, "It is okay. You are safe."
Exactly that. And when you start responding to yourself with calm understanding, your mind slowly begins to trust that it is safe to rest. It is safe to try. It is safe to be imperfect and still be worthy of love.
You know, I think I am going to start practicing that. Next time I catch myself judging, I will stop and say, "Hey Andrew, it is okay. You are trying your best. That is enough."
That is beautiful, Andrew. That small sentence, "You are trying your best," that is the beginning of healing. That is learning to be your own comfort.
Maybe that is how we learn to love ourselves. By slowly forgiving the parts we once judged the most.
Yes, that is exactly where real love begins. Not in perfection, not in achieving everything, but in gentle, quiet acceptance of who you already are.
You know, Ava, I have been thinking about what you said earlier, about forgiving yourself and speaking to yourself with kindness. And I want to ask, what does that actually look like in real life? Because sometimes kindness feels very abstract, like a nice idea that I cannot quite hold in my hands.
I understand that. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was going through a very stressful time. Too much work, not enough rest, not enough quiet. And I kept pushing myself, saying you have to do more, you have to keep going, you cannot stop now. And then one evening, I just stopped. I made a cup of tea. I sat by the window and watched the light change outside. And I said very softly to myself, "You are tired. It is okay to rest. You have done enough today."
That sounds so simple, but also so moving.
I cried, genuinely cried, because it was the first time in a very long time that I had treated myself the way I would treat someone I truly loved. Not with pressure, not with a to-do list, just with presence and gentleness. And that tiny act, just listening to my own tiredness and giving it permission to exist, it changed something inside me.
I usually tell myself to just get over it when I feel down. Just push through. Stop being so sensitive. But maybe what I actually need in those moments is to say, "Hey, it is okay to feel this. Your feelings are real. You are allowed to have them."
Yes, exactly.
Kindness starts with permission. Permission to feel. Permission to rest. Permission to be a full human being with needs and limits and bad days. Not a machine that runs forever without stopping.
But here is something I struggle with, Ava. When I am kind to other people, when I help someone or listen to them or make them feel better, I feel genuinely good. But when I try to be kind to myself, I feel guilty, like I am being lazy, like I should be doing something more useful.
Many people feel exactly that way. We have been taught that self-care is indulgence, that resting is laziness, that putting yourself first is selfish. But kindness to yourself is not laziness. It is nourishment. Think of it like watering a plant. If you never water a plant because you think it should survive on its own, it will slowly wither, no matter how strong it looks on the outside.
So you are saying I have been letting my inner plant slowly wither of thirst.
Maybe just a little. But the beautiful thing is, plants can come back to life. People can come back to life. With just a little consistent, gentle care.
That is a comforting thought. But I think my problem is I do not even always know what kindness to myself looks like. What do I actually do? What does it feel like?
That is such a good question. And here is the important thing. Kindness does not always look like big dramatic changes. It lives in small choices. Going to bed a little earlier when your body is tired. Taking one slow deep breath before you reply to a message that made you anxious. Writing down one thing, just one thing, that you are grateful for today. Saying no to something when you are genuinely too tired to say yes. Making a warm drink and sitting quietly with it instead of scrolling through your phone. These are all acts of kindness. Small, quiet, powerful.
So it is not about being selfish at all. It is about being honest. Honest about what you actually need, instead of pretending you are fine when you are not.
Exactly.
When you start being honest about what you need, you stop abandoning yourself. You stop leaving yourself behind. And that is self-love in action. Not a grand gesture. Not a perfect life. Just choosing not to abandon yourself when you need yourself the most.
Stop abandoning yourself. That phrase feels very powerful to me.
It really is. Because every time you choose kindness over criticism, every time you choose rest over pushing, every time you say, I need this, and it is okay to need it, you send your heart a message. You say you matter. You are worth caring for. And slowly, very slowly, that message becomes your truth.
I think I have spent a long time waiting for other people to send me that message. Waiting for someone to tell me, you are enough. You are worthy. You are loved.
We all do that, Daniel. We wait, and we search, and we hope. But the moment you realize that you can give that message to yourself, that is the moment everything begins to change. That is the moment you stop needing permission from the world to feel okay about who you are.
I think I want to start sending myself that message. Starting tonight.
Starting tonight. That is perfect.
You know, Ava, I have been thinking about something while we have been talking. Sometimes I say yes to things even when every part of me really does not want to. A friend needs help when I am completely exhausted. An invitation to something I do not enjoy. An extra task when I have already given everything I have. And I say yes anyway, because I do not want to disappoint anyone. I do not want to seem unkind.
AVA. Oh, Andrew, so many people live in that exact pattern. We confuse kindness with pleasing everyone. We think that being a good person means always saying yes, always being available, always putting everyone else's needs before our own. But true kindness, especially kindness to yourself, often means saying no when something does not feel right, when your body and your heart are asking you to stop.
Next time I feel that guilt rising when I say no, I am going to remind myself, this is not rejection. This is self-respect. And self-respect is not selfish. It is necessary.
You know, Andrew, everything we have talked about today, the kindness, the forgiveness, the boundaries, all of it leads to one final truth. One that I think is the most important of everything. Learning to become your own safe place.
Your own safe place. I love that phrase. But what does it really mean? What does it feel like to be your own safe place?
It means being someone you can come home to when the world is difficult, when relationships disappoint you, when you fail at something. When you feel lost and confused and unseen, there is someone waiting for you. And that someone is you. It is the feeling of knowing that no matter what happens on the outside, on the inside, you will treat yourself with care. Not punishment, not judgment, just gentle, steady care.
You know, Ava, this conversation has genuinely changed something in how I see self-love. Before today, I thought it meant feeling good all the time, being positive and confident and always okay. But now I see it is something much quieter and much more honest than that. It is about being kind enough to stay with yourself, even when things fall apart, even on the days when you feel like the smallest version of yourself.
Beautifully said, Andrew. That is the very heart of it. Staying with yourself, not running away from your own difficult feelings, not judging yourself for having needs, just staying, with gentleness, with patience, with love. As we close today's episode, I want to invite you, our wonderful listener, to do something small. Wherever you are right now, if you can, gently place your hand on your heart, take one slow, quiet breath, and whisper very softly to yourself, I am here. I am enough. I am safe with myself.
Try to carry that feeling with you today. And remember, even on the hard days, especially on the hard days, you can be your own comfort. You do not have to wait for someone else to make you feel loved. You already have that power. It has always been there inside you, waiting for you to use it.
And every small act of care, resting when you are tired, forgiving yourself when you fall short, saying no when you need to, speaking kindly to yourself in the quiet moments, every single one of those acts is a way of saying I love you to your own heart.
I think I am going to end my night with that tonight. Quiet, honest I love you to myself. Maybe for the first time in a long time.
That is perfect, Andrew. And to everyone listening, thank you. Thank you for sharing this quiet time with us. We hope you remember, you are never too much. You are never too little. You are never too broken or too lost or too late. You are always, always deserving of your own love.
Take care of yourselves, everyone. Truly. Be gentle with your hearts.
Until next time, bye.